Good morning, friends. Today we are going to learn our second story after Toba Tek Singh, the final solution from Module 3, Semester 4. Here, in the previous lectures, we learned more about Toba Tek Singh and the theme of partition in Toba Tek Singh. Now, here we are going to learn the next story which are related to the partition literature, that is the final solution. The story by Manik Bandopadhay, was born in Dumka, Bihar in 1908. Manik Bandopadhay is a major, prolific Bengali writer whose collected works run into 60 volumes, and he died in 1956. So, today we are going to learn about his one of the best short story which are based on the partition of India and Pakistan. See, Manik Bandopadhay, 1908 to 1956, an Indian writer, novelist, key figure in the development of 20th century Bengali literature. His several comprises of 36 novels and nearly 250 short stories. His remarkable works are Padmanadir Mahi, the boatman of the river Padma, Putulu Nacher, Itikadha, the puppet's tale. Next, Subar Biya, Shahar Tali, and the quadrilateral, that is Chatushtkoon. Bandopadhyay published 57 volumes during his lifetime. His stories and novels got published in the most prominent journals and literary magazines of then Bengal, including Vichitra, Anand Bazar Patrika, Jugantar, Satyayug, Bangashri, Naboshakti, Kalantar, Parichay, and many more. Those are the names of the magazines. His life was marked by acute poverty and frequent illnesses. See, if we see his lifespan, we can understand how, because of the illness, might be he died. Worked as editor of Nabaran and Bangashri, Manik Bandopadhyay tried to analyze the multidimensional facets of social reality. He also dwelt upon man's socio-psychological criteria and his consciousness. His fiction examines and investigates different problems confronting the social milieu. He was inspiring by Marxist philosophy and Freudian principles of psychoanalysis. Instead of describing the idyllic pleasure of life in rural milieu, he felt content to describe the psychic predilections and sinister workings of the human mind. The stories often unravel the dark, obscure, enigmatic aspects of the characters' lives who often lead disturbed existence under the garb of seemingly unruffled and peaceful reality. He distinguished himself as a great novelist in the tradition of Bankim Chandra, Rabindranath, and Sharat Chandra. His fiction was about ordinary men and women who endured extraordinary circumstances during the independence era, and his writings gave us a chance to revisit some of the most heroic yet forgotten characters of the times. So, experiences from the partition literature described by the writer. As a novelist, he was concerned with change, the relation between cause and effect, crisis of resolution, and was not merely content with recording or subjective analysis of historical events that influenced the individual in the context of colonial India. So, he was concerned with the change and write about the causes and effects of the partition with the help of his experiences, and he wrote down the short stories and novels which are related to the partition. See, the plot of the story, the final solution. The final solution is one of the most acclaimed works of Manik Bandopadhay. The plot of the story revolves around an impoverished family that migrates to West Bengal after the partition of Bengal, turning them into distressed, homeless vagabonds, anonymous, nondescript among the strangers. So, the story has a simple linear plot. A refugee family in the post partition times of unsettled life wander off a railway station of a city and, having no other shelter, puts up on the platform, as it was common during those turbulent times. The family consists of Bhushan, a sick young man, Mallika, his wife, Asha, his sister, and Kokon, their starved sick child. The whole family has gone hungry for days together. Odd jobs, menial work, employment of any insignificant kind are not available. A man called Prathama and his assistant Ramlochan are on the lookout for such refugees. They claim to be working for the Help and Welfare Society, supposed to have been set up by the government to help the refugees. These are walls in the garb of social workers and are in search of victims. They spot out this family, especially Malika, who is young and needy. Pramatha promises to give Mallika a suitable job and calls her to a particular place in a colony where he feeds her, gives her new clothes, and tempts her to satisfy his sexual hunger. In fact, his secret trade is to find out needy women and force them into prostitution. Mallika is an alert woman of spirit and understands the evil intentions of Pramatha and finally kills him. The whole incident has not frightened her but given her confidence of conducting herself safely among this world full of wolves. That is her final solution to the struggle of survival. Survival as well as survive herself from this kind of people. See the next part, how the story brings out tales of suffering, molestation, rape, and sexual violence quite common during the post partition days. The story evidently works on the helpless state of a young mother, Malika, who struggles to keep herself and her body unscathed in the face of the terrible events. The story unveils incidents of cynicism, defenselessness, decaying human values, spiritual discussion, bringing out the absurdity of human existence. So, here we can understand due to the partition how the human nature changed, and there is a molestation of women. The story documents and makes us perceive from close quarters what Alok Bhalla calls the note of utter bewilderment, the chaos, the insanity of the times when we fell out of a world of human world of languages, customs, rituals, and prayers into a bestial world of hatred, rage, self interest, and frenzy. Displacement and disposition are the crucial points of discussion in the narrative. As Bandopadhyay writes, even few days back, one could see the forlorn, dispossessed people spending their days and nights huddled together like herds of cattle and goats in the shelter of a railway platform. See how people lived in the refugee camps or at the railway platform as the goats in the shade, goats in the shelter, or cattle's herds in the herds of cattle in the shelter. Contrary to the popular androcentric male discourse on partition history, the story reaches the objective of feminist historiography in the words of John Wallach Scott, as it makes women a focus of inquiry, a subject, and an agent of the narrative. It also brings to the fore the massive disruption and crisis that followed partition and projects women as active agents rather than passive recipients of this change. So here also the Malika is an active agent of this particular partition short story, The Final Solution. The story captures women's experience of the partition, which further delineates and reinterprets the significant turning point in history from the point of view of women, thus providing an alternate history where women figured not just as objects of study but as subjects and participants. The sexual abuse, defilement, dishonor, profanity, violation of dignity, transgression are questions that hit the read, readers hard in the course of the narrative. So here we can understand how there is a character of Malika and try to find out final solution, and here the point of view of women changed due to this character used by Manik Bandopadhay and how he presented the character and tried to change the situation after the partition. See what are the keywords in this particular short story: displacement, disposition, resettlement, home, labor, unemployment, hunger, starvation, labor, home, memories, communal violence, exploitation, reali- realignment of family, community and national identities, refugee camps, rehabilitation, sexual assault, destitute, gendered social history, sexual transgression, prostitution. See, those are the keywords which are related to the partition, and the those keywords are the theme in the particular short story, The Final Solution. In the next lecture, we'll see the particular detailed story.